I am holding an Edgit Pro. This is a string trimmer attachment that they say is better than the standard guard or better than no guard at all. It's supposed to help you edge, it's supposed to help keep you cleaner, it's supposed to make your trimming easier. I don't know if any of those claims are true. I'm pretty interested. The 4 things we're gonna be testing today is, does this actually trim better? Does it protect plants? Does it actually do a good job of creating a vacuum? They say it creates a vacuum and helps you cut even better. How does it work with heavy duty grass? How does it edge? Then we're gonna see, how heavy is it? Is it lighter? Is it heavier? Is this a worthy accessory? Is it gonna hurt your back or is it gonna feel all right? And does this keep me cleaner? You know, the guard is intended to protect you. We have to remove that to install this, so I'm curious, do I feel protected? Is it gonna keep my legs clean? My legs are clean as they can be right now. I've cleaned them off just for you guys.
Don't just clean it, OxyClean it.
I'm gonna have a before and after clip for you at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. So stay tuned, we're gonna slap this baby on there and see how well this Edgit Pro works. This is how I received the box. All I do is cut the tape, pull this thing out of here, and there's not very much in here. There's this little piece, and then some screws, and some instructions. Let's start. I know we're gonna have to take off this original guard. Now, Stihl would not recommend us doing this, and I'm not recommending either, okay? But if you were to, and you were to slap something like this on there, just know you're taking your life into your own hands.
And I think your hand is weak.
Guys, if you're curious what it actually does to your string trimmer if you take the guard off, you know, there's a lot of myths and legends out there of it being very bad for your engine when you take off the guard. We have a very lengthy video of us taking a guard off and running a string trimmer without a guard at various lengths and taking temperature gauges to the engine and seeing what kind of actual damage we're doing to this thing. You guys should check it out. The link to that video is gonna be at the end of this video. Guys, today I chose an FS 131. I wanted some high horsepower, baby. Just take your head off, stick your pin tool in here, tighten it to get it off. It's gonna go like this. I'm gonna install this with the original hardware because these steel bolts are awesome and I have the tool with me all the time. It's gonna work just like the original plate. I'm just gonna throw their washers on. This plate is parallel to the mounting flange here. That's what we're doing. Well, something I'm learning is if you install this on here, it's not gonna be something you're gonna wanna take on and off a lot. It's gonna be like you put it on and you leave it on. You have a dedicated trimmer for this. Just how slow it is to tighten just these 4 bolts. It's a pain. They're long threads. So then you just figure out where, they give you a lot of options here, where it best fits. It looks like these 2 holes are a good fit. Now, I don't like that you have to switch tools, but it is very well centered. That's impressive. They put the holes in the right spot. So you gotta hold the back width of the nut with 3/8 and then tighten her down with a screwdriver. What's cool is that this rolls like a wheel. And there's an O-ring around here. Kind of cuts down on vibration and lets it just slide smoothly. I put my trimmer back on. With these, you always do reverse thread. You loosen to tighten and tighten to loosen. And basically, that's what's happening. This is spinning. It's supposed to create a vacuum that sucks grass up, and it doesn't allow you to maybe bite off more than you can chew. It's supposed to be better even around chain link fences. So only thing left to do is try it. Wow, that's a weird phenomenon. It actually has a ton of downward force. It's sucking the head down. I have to like physically resist it because it wants to suck to the ground. I have to like hold up. That is bizarre feeling. Okay, well let's trim, see how it works. One thing I would say is that it does help if you're visually impaired, it's hard for you to see the line. It definitely is a good visual for like what is level and what is flat. When I was over the concrete, it wanted to literally suck itself down to the concrete. It's not doing that as much over the grass, which is good because it was almost hard to resist it at this like the height you would want it. But really, I need to do some more. I need to try some more. You know, I'm definitely getting hit on the legs, but I do feel like my face is a little bit more protected. That time I clicked the line out a little past the guard, pretty far past the guard, probably like 3 inches past the guard. I felt like it cut better at that point. It didn't cut as good when it was just centrally under the guard. Man, it is crazy. When you go over the grass, it kind of does fine, like you're dragging the bump head on the ground, and you can kind of maintain your height better. But when you go over concrete, it does have so much suction that it almost pulls it out of your hand and slams it to the ground. Like, it's kind of crazy how much suction it has. I want to do a little example. I'm gonna start it up here, and we're gonna watch this grass or these leaves and see how it tornadoes and see this suction. When you are about this high off the ground on concrete, it pulls down hard. I mean, like multiple pounds of pulling downward. Over the grass, it does not have the same pull down, but you could tell it has that same suction. So this is some lengthy grass over here. Can we do slow-mo here and see if it sucks up as I get closer? Not necessarily protecting me more, that's for sure. I'm getting hit a lot. We're gonna try edging here, see how it does on the edge. So my conclusion on the edging is it's not a better edger than an edger by any means, but as far as string trimming an edge goes, which in Florida we don't really consider that true edging, but if you're gonna string trim an edge, it does definitely help keep you lined up. If you're a beginner, you can kind of just roll it, you know, it's a little easier. I can tell for like me, I like edging with an edger and I like using one hand and walking, but there seems like there's too much variable for me to do that well with one hand. Here I have to hold on with two hands because there is still this strange suction element to the front where if I pitch it at all, it almost like it has propellant on the front and it wants to kind of either blow or suck the front around. Unlike a normal edger where you can just walk one-handed and kind of march it out. But it does leave a nice thick edge and it looks okay. You can't put that much line out and you gotta tap a lot. You know, if you're trimming or edging without a guard at all, you have, 6 to 10 inches of line to kind of work with as you get closer and closer to your gear head to kind of keep going. You can go further. This only lets you stick out about that much line before it kind of goes nuts, and then you have to tap a lot. So just in this little strip here that's probably 45 feet, I had to tap twice to get through it. It's just something to consider. If you're buying this because you want to string trim edge a lot, it's probably not the best tool for that. You should get better at using no guard at all. But let's go try some thicker grass and see how it does there. One question I had for the Edgit Pro is, would it protect trees? This is a 3-year-old guava tree I bought and planted. I hurt my back and I hired a landscaper to help me with my yard. It's a big yard. And this tree was killed by my landscaper, which he's a friend of mine. I don't have any grudge against him. It happens sometimes. But basically, if you could see here, every tree has a bark layer, and between the bark and the hardwood is the cambium, and that's what carries the water up the tree and allows it to flourish and grow and all that kind of stuff. But if you string trim too close around this bark layer and you knock the bark off the base of your tree, the tree no longer gets water anywhere above that cut. So you can see right here where the string trimmer he was using and was just hitting my wood too much, and it broke off all the bark around the base and it killed my beautiful little guava tree here. I wonder if the Edgit will protect my tree and not maybe grab hold of my tree and destroy it. This tree's already dead. It's 100% dead. It's been dead for months now. So we're gonna try it and see how it does. You know, what else can I do with it other than cut it down and be done with it? But let's try real quick, see how it does. Well, I guess there would be a right way and a wrong way to use it. If you wanted to get around trees safely, you would need to get your line shorter than your outside edge. See how this line right now, just about even with my protective edge here. If you could keep your line slightly shorter than that, maybe even another 1/8 of an inch, then there's no way for your line to even touch the tree, and this nice edge could protect your tree. But if you had it out extended past your edge, it's gonna have the same problem as you had before. But I do think it's an interesting option if you were pruning around a lot of trees, say you had a nursery or just a yard that had a lot of pruning to do and you wanted to get nice and tight and they were against spraying. Because ideally, what would have happened is I would have just sprayed Roundup around this tree and it never would have needed to be trimmed around, and it would have been safe and I would have kept it alive. So it's really my fault for not doing what it actually needed. And really, it's just something that simply happens, guys. Something to watch out for when you're trimming somebody's yard. Be careful with the bases of the tree. This can help with that as long as you're using it correctly, and make sure your line is shorter than your guard. Let's see how it does over here next to these cactuses. Now that I have it a little bit shorter, I can actually get close to the cactus without injuring it. What an absolute dangerous place to string trim. I got bougainvillea, I got a big old cactus, everything's sharp, everything wants to poke you. This is a perfect application for this head, and something I actually really appreciate. This is so hard to trim around a soft cactus or like an agave or something that's really supple, like, you know, a succulent. And if you can reduce your string length to inside of your guard's diameter, then I can very safely trim and kind of push this all around that soft plant and not really worry about damaging it. So this is a great application for the Edgit Pro. I think this is a good solution for people who had a lot of those to do. And it's just a learning curve. How do you protect your plant while using it? Next thing we're gonna do is go see how it handles some really thick stuff, and can you get in there with the Edgit Pro, or does it prevent you from actually making any headway? Let's check it out. So my final thoughts on the Edgit Pro. You know, at first, I honestly did not want to like it. I thought, this is a gimmick. This is probably not something I'm gonna ever buy. And when I was kind of just using it in the normal lawn, like trimming grass and that sort of thing, it is a little heavier, it's a little more cumbersome, it's a little harder to swing. And for me, visually, it's harder to see my line and to kind of do a good trim. But the places it really shined was the edging. If you like string trim edging, it actually did do a good job of string trim edging. But the place that really blew my mind was around these cactuses. I've never been able to trim around these cactuses and feel comfortable. I've let the grass grow tall there, and I've always felt like I'm gonna hurt them if I get too close. And also on the chain link fence. This thing is a chain link fence defender. If you do a lot of chain link fence, this is the right product for you, and it's fantastic. I'm like blown away. I mean, this chain link fence was covered in some nasty coping grass, and it was like overgrown like crazy because I'd literally just been avoiding that area. And because of that, it's grown all around that fence. And every time I go over there with my string trimmer, it just grabs hold of that fence and it makes a big deal, makes a big noise, makes a big mess, and it eats up all my line really, really quickly. But with this, it was able to prevent the chain link fence from getting to my line. My line obviously got shorter. You can see here, it's like short as the guard, and the guard just hit the chain link fence and my line trimmed where it needed to trim. And it was incredible. It does not slide into thick stuff well. Like we had some of that Spanish needle, and I was trying to move left to right with it in the Spanish needle, and it couldn't really do that very well because this guard would just get hung up because it wouldn't actually let the string engage it. But if I used it more of like a, I don't know what you'd call this motion, some type of patty cake if I slammed it down on everything, it actually did really well, and it allowed me to mow some bigger stuff. And I also have a wood pile over there that was overgrown with that Spanish needle, and it was really hard to trim that as well because it was really thick, overgrown, and my line would get all wrapped around it with a normal string trimmer. But with this, I could kind of just slam it down all around it and just blow up and crush every little one of those Spanish needle plants. And it allowed me to kind of bounce off and work around that wood without it just grabbing my line and causing all kinds of havoc. It made me feel a lot safer using it. But to go back to some of the original 4 or 5 things that we said that we were going to test today, did this string trim better than a normal string trimmer? And the answer is no. As far as just normal trimming around the house, if you're doing manicured lawns, I probably wouldn't buy this tool. I think I would prefer just a string trimmer with a standard guard or no guard at all. Did it do thicker stuff better? No, it didn't do thicker stuff better, but you could do thicker stuff with it. Did it make you cleaner? Not really. I'm bleeding a couple places. I was getting hit. My face got hit. My whole body got hit. I think it hits you as much as normal. There's no type of guard that is lipping down. So everything still can shoot out in all directions. You know, the Stihl trimmer guard is lipped, which is helpful, but you still get hit by everything. So no, it doesn't help you not get hit. Is it lighter? And that answer is no. I think it's heavier. It feels like it was harder to swing around. Can it edge? And the answer is yes, it can edge. I don't like it as much as an edger, but if I was gonna do one rather than both, then yeah, it would help you edge if you were kind of new to the game. I think most of you guys who watch probably could do a better job edging without it, but I think for me, being somewhat of a novice of sorts, it was helpful. It kind of helped me guide everything. I didn't grab hold of the concrete very much, but you have to tap it a lot. But the area I didn't even think about this thing being very, very useful when I was brainstorming on ways to use this and ways to test it for you was around succulents, like my cactuses here. It made me feel very confident. It protected my trees. Once I understood that you had to reduce the line's length be inside of the guard, then I could work around trees and fruit trees and not worry about damaging that soft cambium layer. And I really have never trimmed that close to my cactus, and I'm so glad I got to. And then chain link fence. This thing was amazing. If you're doing a lot of chain link properties, if your neighborhoods that you're working in have all chain link or you have a chain link fence, try it. The Edgit Pro, I think it's fantastic. The website is edgit.com. We're gonna have a link in the description where you can buy one of these off of Amazon, and it's an affiliate link. It helps us get some kickback on that, which we would really appreciate. Guys, if you enjoyed that video, then check this video out over here. It has that string trimmer line video where we talk about taking your guard off and what that actually does to your engine. And you're also interested in other head options, I have a great video over here that's gonna show you all types of Stihl head attachments that are made for this product that work extremely well. Guys, we make these videos for you, and it means the world to us when you watch them. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend. It means a lot. Appreciate it.